Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the first board meeting of the 2018-2019 school year. This evening, before heading into private session, we have the privilege of conducting a ceremony for the Office of Trustee and Student Trustee for the Halton District School Board. I'd now like to turn the meeting over to Director Stuart Miller.
I'd like to welcome everyone, and then I'm going to go one by one with our student trustees and our new trustee as well. Thanks.
They're all good. All good.
So, yeah, they're all better than mine. So this is your declaration and oath. So if you could read that, Ali, please.
Sure. I, Ali Chowdhury, do solemnly declare that I am not disqualified under any act from being a member of the school board. I will truly, faithfully, impartially, and to the best of my ability, execute the office of trustee, and I have not received nor will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or malversion or other undue execution of the said office, and that I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, as required by and in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
Declared before me at Burlington in the regional municipality of Halton this 5th day of September 2018. Ali, if you'd like to sign. Yes.
I, Ali Chowdhury, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Declared before me at Burlington in the regional municipality of Halton this 5th of September 2018.
Thank you.
There you go. Congratulations, Ali.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Kevin, would you like to come up? Summer, did we get Ali? Did we get the boy?
Yes.
I, Kevin Moe, do solemnly declare that, in accordance with the Education Act, related legislation, and board policies and procedures, I will truly, faithfully, impartially, and to the best of my ability, execute the office of student trustee. In my role as student trustee, I will comply with freedom of information and protection of personal privacy and conflict of interest legislation, recognizing the importance of maintaining the confidentiality of the board with regard to matters that are dealt with in closed session, and declare not to divulge any information of the contents of any material shared with trustees in closed meeting, and that I am not disqualified under any requirement from being a student trustee member of the Halton District School Board.
Declared before me at Burlington in the regional municipality of Halton on the 5th day of September 2018. Congratulations, Kevin. Well done. Connor. You can come up. Okay. No, not you. No, you come up. You come up as well is what I meant.
Connor, you may want to turn that a little more upright.
I, Connor Clark, do solemnly declare that, in accordance with the Education Act, related legislation, and board policies and procedures, I will truly, faithfully, impartially, and to the best of my ability, execute the office of student trustee. In my role as student trustee, I will comply with freedom of information and protection of personal privacy and conflict of interest legislation, recognizing the importance of maintaining the confidentiality of the board with regard to matters that are dealt with in closed session, and to declare not to divulge any information of the contents of any material shared with trustees in closed meetings, and that I am not disqualified under any requirements from being a student trustee member of the Halton District School Board.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to say, declared before me at Burlington in the regional municipality of Halton on this 5th day of September 2018. Congratulations, Connor. Congratulations.
Shall we take a group photo with the new set of trustees?
Thank you.
Who's willing to take the picture?
I'll do it.
Oh, sorry, can you pause till they're all set up? Watch out. It was a feat of strength. After this, we're going to have the airing of the grievances. So we call the three in front. Would you chair the board? Okay. It's hard to sit in the middle of the floor. Almost the same, huh? The same, huh?
All right.
Just from Dean up to waist? Okay, so Dean, Amy, and just shift that way a little bit.
Oh, Michelle's not even in it yet. Wait.
That's why we shift again. That way.
I'll move over.
Yeah, like that.
Do we look balanced now?
No. Get in there, man. Wait, let's go shoulders.
That way first and then.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Okay, smile now. Everyone's gonna take a picture. Just smile. Keep it going. That's good. This one is communications. I'm gonna, snap that. Only a few of you know that. Yeah, I'll send that book to you, okay?
I got it. He's taking a picture of
No,
it.
from when
Yeah.
I got it.
Because apparently mine is. Yes, I've been told, huh?
I got my share. I got my share.
Oh, did you get it going, Gail?
It's okay, Gord, send it along.
Well, I was in the middle, right?
Did you get the mission vision?
Well, I just got them when they were looking. You can hear.
Send it along. I did.
Thanks.
I got it here. I don't think it's working this time. I don't know what's going on. Oh, my mic was on.
Okay, so that was very exciting. And thank you, Director Miller. And I'd like to officially welcome Trustee Chaudhry, Trustee Clark, and Trustee Mung to the board table. May I now have a motion to go into private session? Moved by Trustee Daniele, seconded by Trustee Gray. And I assume there's no questions, debate. Okay, so all those in favor, please vote. Excellent. And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We are now in private session.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to private
Good evening and welcome to the first regular public meeting of the Halton District School Board for Wednesday, September 5th, 2018. Our staff and students have another year ahead of them, and I hope that each and every day that the 6 values of the Halton District School Board, accountability, collaboration, creativity, empathy, equity, and integrity, are embodied within the work and play on our grounds and within our facilities. We all endeavor to fulfill the Halton District School Board's vision that every student will explore and enhance their potential, passions, and strengths to thrive as contributing global citizens. I wish a wonderful year to everyone. At this moment, I would like to remind everyone that this meeting is video voice recorded and live streamed from the hdsb.ca website. I would also ask that you turn your devices to silent mode. There are no trustees missing at all, and we have a couple of superintendents that are unfortunately unable to attend. Oh, they're back. Sorry. They're here. Sorry. So everybody is present. This evening, Trustee Harvey Hope will be honoring the land.
Is it going to show up? Then you're going to need to give it to me. Sorry, we used to broadcast it. Halton, as we know it today, is rich in history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis. From the Anishinaabe to the Adirondack, the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis, these lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, we have the responsibility to honor and respect the 4 directions: land, waters, plants, animals, ancestors that walk before us, and all the wonderful elements of creation that exist. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation for sharing their traditional territory with us.
Thank you, Trustee Harvey Hope. Are there any possible declarations of conflict of interest? None? Next, we are up to the agenda. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda? Trustee Chowdhury, seconded by Trustee Amos. Are there, hold on a second. Is there any discussion on the agenda at all? Seeing none? Okay. All those in favor? That passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We do not have any Inspire Awards this evening. We are not presenting any awards, but please do continue to nominate people or organizations who support our students and their achievements through exemplary caring, initiative, innovation, and creativity. We accept nominations online at the hdsb.ca website. We also have no delegations and presentations this evening. So now we are up to our consent agenda items. Do any consent agenda items require any discussion? Oh, I see some speakers. Trustee Harvey Hope.
Yes, I have a small discussion item, I guess, about the minutes of June 29th, something I said, anyway, and the order paper, I have some comments about, questions.
Okay, and we'll come back to that in a minute. And Trustee Daniele.
Thank you. I have a mild correction to the June 20th minutes, please.
Okay, I'll put the motion on the floor and then we'll discuss these items individually. Okay, so be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the consent agenda action items and receive the information items for September 5th, 2018. Moved by Trustee Pappen, seconded by Trustee Amos. Okay, and so we are going to discuss, we'll go in order here, as in 311, so the minutes of the June 20th. That, I believe, was you, Trustee Daniele.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Secretary Gail Gortmaker. On page 8, the very last paragraph, it says D. Daniele commented on a social justice presentation. The last line said, she also spoke to the success of the Campbellville series. There's not a Campbellville series. It was actually the Destination Campbellville bursary process. If we could make that correction, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, next, item 312, the minutes for June 29th.
Seriously, yeah. So on page 12, it says I, Anne A. Harvey Hope, requested being cognizant of the municipal election and timelines. So I think it would be requested we be cognizant, perhaps. And it actually, for all intents and purposes, could probably be taken out because a couple paragraphs later, Trustee Gray does a much better job of saying the same thing. But we'll leave it at that. And then, do you want me to go on? Okay, so on the order paper, there were a bunch that are bolded that I wanted to draw attention to. So some of them are bolded because the action has been done, but we haven't seen the report that follows from it. So sometimes when we hire legal counsel, we haven't seen some of the stuff that's come back, but I'm under the understanding that we can still remove them because we've done what the motion says. Under 180010, we believe that we haven't actually had that come back to us yet, so we're going to leave that one on for now. And then the 18030131, basically where we start going that last board meeting where we did a whole lot of work. There's a whole bunch of them there that are going to come off because they have been done, and as in the budget and the spec ed plan and the organizational plan, operational plan. But there are a couple, and our new trustee, so that's it. You're on the motion paper for one shot, and then you're gone. But there are other motions in here that are told to be coming off, but they refer to grandparenting of students in certain high schools that they are going to continue in, even though the new students are going someplace else. So just to highlight that all grandparenting boundary issues can be found at planning and at the Where's My School, so that if you are in a current school or if you move into a school that has a certain grade, that you can find where you're supposed to be going to school. It will no longer be on the order paper, but it will be still in place. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
I forgot to mention it, but the admin procedure update is only about the clay admin procedures, and I just wanted to say thank you very much for whoever designed those, because they were informative reading, and I'm hoping a lot of people realize, the ones that take art, that they should not just immediately pick up a piece of clay when it breaks. And so I just wanted to highlight that because it's not something you often realize. You think of this, but the dust can be hazardous. So thank you.
Through you, Chair Grabans, to Trustee Harvey Hope, you said to those who wrote it, it was under the supervision of Executive Officer McFadden and our health and safety group.
Okay, seeing no more conversation, we're going to vote on the consent agenda items. All those in favor? Trustee Pappen? Thank you, that passes unanimously. Okay, now we are up to our ratification action items. Vice Chair Harrison, Do we have any business from private session that requires approval?
Yes, we do, Madam Chair. There are two motions. The first one, be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the resolution from the Halton District School Board meeting in private session September 5th, 2018, respecting negotiations, report 18111. And I so move.
And is seconded by Trustee Amos. Is there any discussion at all? Seeing none. All those in favor? Is there any more business?
Yes, thank you. There's one additional motion. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the resolution from the Halton District School Board meeting in private session September 5th, 2018, respecting property matters, report 18114, and I so move.
Trustee Chowdhury, you second that motion. Thank you. Is there any discussion at all? Seeing none. So, all those in favor? That passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We have no action items specifically for this evening. So now we're up to communications to the board, and we're going to start off with number 5.1, student trustee reports. Trustee Clark and Trustee Mung, I know that you're just sworn in this evening, but do you have a report for us?
Yes, we do. So to begin, we'd like to thank Madam Chair, the trustee mentors, and staff mentors, and the students who have helped us make the transition into this position as easy as possible. So for this year, we have decided to have many initiatives, and they will soon be announced, and they include a revitalization and reformation of the Student Senate, a President's Council for all student councils in the HDSB, and discussions with the Student Senate, student councils, and student body at large on a possible policy document with regard to student governments in schools and the board and how student voice can fit into operations and governments. And also, this year we want to have the Student Senate be a large factor in determining what we as student trustees will be presenting to you at the board. And also today we have sent out the letter to each principal in the HGSB to say that we want to have a student senator from each of the schools, so one from the elementary schools and two from the secondary schools, to be present at our first meeting, which is on September 25th, at 6 p.m. at the JW Singleton Center. And as of now, we will continue to work with the previous student trustees on the drug policy working group as well as with the other interested parties, trustees, and staff. And now I'll pass it to my colleague, Trustee Clark, to add more details.
Thank you, Trustee Mang. I just want to echo his statements of thanks to everyone that's helped make this process as easy as possible. So I'm going to be talking about some of the specific reforms we plan to bring to the Student Senate. So one of the things that both Trustee Mang and I encountered while sitting on the Student Senate or just witnessing one of its meetings is that a lot of the members feel it needs to have a little more formality than it does right now. What we plan to do is to bring a board style, so what we do around this board table, down to the Student Senate, but much more diluted and easy to learn. We plan to propose a new type of voting system inside the Student Senate. So when we have an important decision to make on a specific proposal we want to move forward with, we are going to have the elementary school students vote first, then the secondary students vote second, to make sure that both groups have an equal say in what we are representing them to the Board of Trustees. And Trustee Mung and I will put forward a motion to the Student Senate for the creation of a Constitution Committee on the first meeting of the Student Senate on September 25th, as he had stated, because both Trustee Mung and I were very alarmed to discover that no such document has ever been in creation. So that is something we'd like to give the Student Senate a chance to do, to decide how it wants to govern itself, of course, with trustee input and advice. Trustee Mung and I will also be appointing an executive committee of the Student Senate, the second meeting of the Student Senate, and they will be responsible for the affairs of the student trustees within the Student Senate and acting on our behalf and as well as the Student Senate. That team will be appointed by a process of nomination. Trustee Mung and I will sit through and look through all the applications for all the candidates, and we will find the students we think will best form our executive committee. We will bring those names to the Student Senate, and they will nominate those individuals or not, and we will go back to the drawing board. And those individuals will make sure they are performing some of our tasks, so we can greatly expand the influence of not only the student trustees but of the Student Senate as well. We mentioned some of the changes we're going to bring, such as the Constitution and the student governance policy we are proposing, but we do not want to bring those to the table at this point because the students haven't seen them yet. Our first priority is to bring the Student Senate together first to make sure we get their input and their approval before we move forward. And that ends our report for tonight. If there's any questions, we'd love to have them.
Anybody have any questions for our student trustees? Vice Chair Al Harrison.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much for the report. Very impressive, particularly since this is your first night, but I know you're both very well versed in the workings of committees and so on. So I look forward to hearing more as time goes on. And my question was going to be, will you be seeking input from senators regarding the proposed changes? Because it sounds like you have quite a fulsome slate of ideas that you'd like to move forward, and certainly the year goes by faster than one might anticipate. So I was happy to hear that you do plan to consult with your colleagues, senators. That'll be great. And I would just, for me, when proposals come to the board table, I really appreciate hearing what other senators thought, both pro and con, to help me in my decision-making process as well. So thank you.
Thank you for your question. On the first bit, all of the proposals we plan to bring into effect have to go through the Student Senate first. Trustee Meng and I, we met together in the summer along with our student trustee mentors and staff mentors, and we agreed that we would not move forward on any of these policy proposals without the expressed approval of the Student Senate. It is our absolute goal to make sure that the Student Senate has the final say on everything we are bringing to the board table, because we are representatives of them. We are only two individuals, but the Student Senate is a much broader base that we can bring support up from the student body. And can you just repeat the second part of your question so I can answer to it?
Sure. It was, I guess, more of a request, and that's just when the proposals come to the board table. For me, I really like to understand kind of what the push and pull factors were in terms of the decision. So I'd appreciate that information as well. That's all. Thank you.
Trustee Gray.
Thank you very much, through the chair. I would wonder if the Student Senate this year might consider moving the meetings into other areas rather than just Burlington. Will there be a chance that maybe in the north, perhaps Milton, or even in Halton Hills, that one of the Senate meetings may take place up there?
Thank you for your question. Trustee Mang, our trustee mentors, and our staff advisors, as we said, met in the summer, and we decided that we're going to continue one meeting a month at JWS, Singleton Center. But what we plan to do is we plan to bring a motion to the Student Senate to propose an online format for student senators to be able to tap into Student Senate meetings. We'll have to get what the student senators are thinking on that idea, but we could be amenable to having meetings in other locations, but we'd have to work out logistics with our trustee mentors and everyone that is involved with that.
Okay, seeing no more speakers on the speakers list, thank you very much. I anticipate that your student trustee reports will be action-packed every single time. And I'm looking forward to a great year with the both of you. Okay, so we are now up to item 5.2, which are action items for September 19th. The first is 5.2.1, Trustee Expense Policy, Report number 18108 on page 27 of your board package. Trustee Collard, would you like to speak to this?
Yes, thank you. We discussed this at Committee of the Whole in June, and I have brought forward the amendments that we agreed to at that meeting. It is our usual practice to suspend the rules so that we can post these things immediately rather than waiting for a second meeting in order to post. So I would ask for us to suspend those rules this evening and deal with this matter tonight.
Okay, so is that a motion to suspend the rules? And is seconded by Trustee Harvey Hope. Are there any comments about suspending the rules? Waiving the rules? Thank you. Okay, so all those in favor of, oh, wait, cancel. Oh, this is the waive the rules one. Yeah, I had it right. Okay, I was just worried. Okay, all those in favor. Okay, Trustee Reynolds. Thank you, and that passes unanimously. Okay, so is there any discussion further? Okay, I'll put the motion on the floor then. Actually, I don't have it written down. Do you have it? Made it huge. Okay. There it is. Okay. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board post the revised trustee expense policy as appended to Report 18108 on the board website for a period of 25 days, soliciting public input, and that the policy and any input return to the board for consideration on the first board meeting in October 2018. Moved by Trustee Collard, seconded by Trustee Harvey Hope. I'm going to reset. Okay, are there any speakers to this? Thank you, Trustee Harvey Hope.
Thank you. I appreciate the timing of this. I'm glad we're doing it before the next term starts. I also would like to thank my colleague, Trustee Collard, for actually outlining all of the changes in a very clear and concise manner, and I applaud her on her report. I got everything I asked for. Thank you. We'll put it out into the air and see if anybody else has any comments coming back. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no more speakers. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, next item is number 522, 2018-19 LTAP School Boundary Review, Report 18109 on page 43 of your board package. General Manager Renzilla, thank you. The floor is yours.
Good evening, trustees. Before you this evening is our annual report to the board with respect to the undertaking of school boundary reviews. The gestation of these boundary reviews were as typical a result of the outcomes and comments and recommendations identified in the LTAP. This PAT that was adopted by the board in June of this year. Generally speaking, we've got 5 boundary reviews that are before trustees for review and approval moving forward. One is for the new Northeast Oakville number 2 public school that is scheduled to open for next September. Our intention is to have that boundary review as required completed by February of 2019. The next one is with respect to some developments in North Burlington. One is the Evergreen community that is located north of Dundas Street and between Appleby Line and Tremaine. It's a new community. And if trustees are aware, when we undertook the program and accommodation review, that area for secondary school purposes was directed to MMR moving forward, but there was never anything done with respect to an elementary boundary review. So that should be considered at this point in time. And as well, we have 2 developments in the Halton community, within the Halton Village Public School catchment area that are moving forward. They're about, one has 601 residential units, and the other one has about 414 residential units. Most of them are high density. But the issue at hand is that Halton Village has enrollment pressures, accommodation pressures, and in fact, I do want to point out to trustees that the maximum number of portables allowable on Halton Public School site is 11, not 12, as identified in the report. I'd like to change that. So we are at a maximum of 11. We cannot exceed that at this point in time. And so a boundary review would need to be required to redirect those community or developments elsewhere. The third one is with respect to ERA 102, and more specifically some enrollment imbalances in a couple of schools, primarily John T. Tuck Public School, and which has 10 portables on site, and Pauline Johnson Public School, which has 3. These schools are projected to remain over 100% utilization, requiring portables over the next 10 years, while at the same time we have neighboring schools, i.e. Ryerson Public School and Tecumseh, that will be and remain at 60% utilization. And it would be it's felt that and outlined in the LTAP that we should look at rebalancing those boundaries within that area. The fourth boundary review would involve a review of the boundary or development of a boundary for the new Milton Southwest number 1 high school. As trustees are aware, we are looking at the school is now scheduled to open for the 2020 school year. But as time progresses quickly, as we are all aware, students will have to start deciding what school they're going in the fall of 2019 in order to start selecting courses and whatnot. So we felt that it would be prudent to initiate the boundary review so that come fall of September 2019, senior staff and the school administration can be prepared to accept students, and students know where they're going for the following school year. So a boundary review for the new high school. And the last boundary review is with respect to the Samuel Curtis Estates subdivision. As trustees are aware, this was again identified during the LTAP. We have that community, which is located in Oakville on the furthest west point of the town of Oakville, are currently going to Burlington Elementary Schools. They are attending Mohawk Gardens and Pineland, as well as Nelson and Robert Bateman High School. And so the thought was that we should maybe look at repatriating those students back to Oakville schools and to accommodate them within the elementary schools and or as well as an Oakville High School moving forward. And again, if we were to undertake this boundary review, we would like to have it completed by February of 2019. Be glad to answer any other questions.
There is a growing speakers list here. We'll start with Trustee Collard.
Thank you. I have a number of questions, but my primary concern is the overlap of trustee terms that will be occurring during these boundary reviews. As you know, there will be a new term starting on December 1st, and these boundary reviews will overlap the change of terms. And so I would request that the utmost caution be taken in the approach to these and to making sure that there is some continuity within the makeup of the group of trustees and parents who are leading these, because we don't want to have trustees involved and then not involved in leading these groups. As well, I'm a little bit concerned that item number 2 does not state that it is an elementary review. It talks about the evergreen community and the development located on Thomas Alton Boulevard and Valera Road, but it doesn't say that it is an elementary review. If we could please amend item number 2 to specify that it is an elementary review.
Is it just in?
Through you, Chair Grevance to Trustee Collard. On the last point, yes, no problem. We'll do that. On the first one, you certainly raise an interesting conundrum because the local, our boundary review committees are co-chaired by a trustee. Not the local trustee, but they are co-chaired by a trustee. And it would pose some challenges going forward, possibly pose some challenges going forward. Don't have an answer at the moment, but you've raised a significant point.
Okay, Trustee Amos.
Thank you. My question is also around timing. So I know, for example, my community is ready to do their boundary review now because they've been asking. So I'm wondering if we should waive the rules, because I believe if some of the boundaries, if we start earlier, will not have that overlap because they potentially could be finished before this term is done. So there's a couple that you have February timelines that may be able to be finished, and then the ones that are later date may be able to start after the new term. So I'm going to make a motion to waive the rules to
do I have a second to waive the rules? Trustee Daniele. Okay, hold on one second.
Well, you can still ask questions on the motion when it comes up.
I'm possibly suggesting that you may not want to pass all 5, waive the rules.
So are you requesting to split the motion? You can't split the motion. You're just requesting. Okay, we don't have.
Waive the rules, yes, and then split the motion after. Is that how this works then? Because the ones that go until February.
For the benefit of our new trustee and the public, the reason these are February, there are 4 of them for February and 1 for June. They are to meet staffing timelines, so they have to be completed by the end of January, actually, so that they can meet staffing timelines in February. So that's, sorry, I just wanted to clarify that, whereas 1 is June, that's not a big deal.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules. If anybody has any comments about suspending the rules, you're welcome to go onto this list. I haven't cleared the last list. I've just put it on hold for now. Okay, Trustee Collard.
Can you please just, through the chair, explain the reasoning for waiving the rules? What is it that we're waiving the rules for? Because the dates are still what the dates are. Are you then going to amend the motions? I'm just curious as to what we're agreeing to.
Can I respond? The reason I'm suggesting waiving the rules, it will allow these processes to start earlier as opposed to waiting another 3-4 weeks, because it takes time to build the committees, and it will take time to because they have to go out to the school communities and stuff. So by waiving the rules, we are getting ahead a couple of weeks. So maybe we can finish some of these within this term when we don't have the conflict of having trustees who are going to be.
May I follow up?
Yes.
My question now is through you to Director Miller. Is staff ready to hit the ground running on these, or would you still be starting when you would be starting according to your timelines that you've already set out?
Through you, Chair Drabens, we haven't nailed down the timelines yet. We work backwards from the February, which is our normal practice. I would look to General Manager Renzella around the preparation of all the materials, but the election is October 22nd. That's a really tight timeline to try to get these done by October 22nd. In fact, it would have to be done the Wednesday prior to October 22nd, which is the last. Well, I guess that would be for the board to decide going into November. If the awkwardness would be if a co-chair of a boundary review committee was no longer going to be a trustee past December 1st, and then we would be bringing a report recommending the review the boundaries in November. I think that's for the trustees to decide if that's acceptable or not. The alternative is we could hit the ground running right after the election, and it'd be a bit of an accelerated review, but I'm not sure how that would be received in the public either. So I know I haven't really answered the question. I've just posed more questions than answers, but those are the dilemmas. I think it's really the determination of the trustees. I think we're betwixt and between. I think we'd be struggling to get it done starting tomorrow, so to speak. I mean, I know you're not really literally saying tomorrow, and I think we might be struggling to get it done between after the election and the February date. So I look to Senior Manager Renzella, or General Manager. Do you have anything you want to add? Because it's your department that gets consumed in this, and the superintendents around the table.
I think you're right. It's going to be a tight timeline trying to get it done before the election. We're still waiting for final data in terms of the schools, the numbers and whatnot. Need to get those in place in order to do the appropriate enrollment projections moving forward. Notwithstanding anything else, I know the committees are chaired by trustees and whatnot, but it does not preclude the work of beforehand and afterwards in terms of all the scenarios and options, because we also have to have that public information meeting and get that feedback from the community. And the final report ultimately comes from the director. So, I'm not putting anything down in terms of the trustees' roles and whatnot, but there's a fair amount of work that's done with staff and the committee members as well as senior staff and superintendents that are there. Trustees are there to help guide and direct the process, ensure that all options are reviewed. So the process can be seamless to the point that, there's no decisions made until we've got all the information in place.
Okay, we'll move on to the next speaker then, to the suspending of the rules. Vice Chair Al Harrison.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, I just have 2 quick points. One is that I believe that the community members are often drawn from school councils, and school councils are not themselves elected until October, and then starting in November, starting their work in. And number 2 is I wonder how many community members will be following along the agendas and I know I've notified the Samuel Curtis people that I'm in touch with, so they're aware that it's here, but I wonder if anybody would be missing out on the opportunity to talk to the board when it comes back the second time.
Okay, seeing no one else on the speakers list, okay, Trustee Harvey Hope.
Yeah, after listening to my colleagues, I think I'll change my opinion on waiving the rules. I think we should waive the rules. I think we should pass this tonight in whatever modified form it may need to be modified to, and that therefore, even though it doesn't mean we start before 15 days from now, it would mean we know we're going forward. It would mean that the planning department wouldn't be doing the work ahead and then find out they're only doing 4 instead of 5. And I don't think any of these are really people can make their comments known in the public information process and some other ways, but I don't think any of these, the LTAP is pretty clear, we need to solve some of these problems. I think we should discuss later at a different point whether or not October 22nd is the deadline, or whether we're actually saying we have to be able to pass this before this term ends, which gives you 2 meetings, maybe 3 in November as well. So you do have a little bit more time versus trying to get it passed before October 22nd. You just have to have it, decided on. And then the one that's supposedly going till June is probably the one that there's some maneuverability on, but we don't have the same problem with that one that we do with other ones. So I think that in some cases we have some room to maneuver. And there may be a case where community members might co-chair, or future community members might co-chair in order to provide the continuity. And I'll discuss that with somebody later.
Okay, seeing no more speakers, I'm going to just mention that I'm not in support of suspending the rules. I think that our community really, this is the first board meeting of the school year. I don't think a lot of people are paying attention. I know that the number 2 for Evergreen and the Thomas Alton and Valera Road ones there is a lot of anxiety in my community over the boundaries related to those, especially the ones that are right in Alton. There have been people trying to go to the OMB to try and stop things. There has been a lot of angst. And I think that that we have a rule for a reason, to allow the community to be able to absorb what is coming in front of us and be able to ask us questions before we pass things. And I think suspending the rules in order to right now is just not warranted. But I'm just one. Oh, we have more speakers on the speaker list. Okay, Trustee Pappen.
Thank you. I just want to say I'm also not in favor of waiving the rules. I do feel that we need the 2 weeks for our community to absorb this. I know there will be a lot of angst in some of my communities because of what possibly could happen. So thank you.
Okay, seeing no more people on the speakers list. Oh, someone else on this? Oh, no, sorry, that was someone needs to silence their phone. Sorry, someone popped on the list just as I was leaving. Trustee Chowdhury.
Thank you very much. I'd like to suggest, for the sake of the public and perhaps myself and the other new trustees, that you explain what you mean when you keep using the term waiving of the rules, please. Thank you.
Okay, so in Robert's Rules of Order and within our bylaws, which follows Robert's Rules of Order, there are rules of process, and our rules are that we have a report for action come 1 week, and then it's voted on in the second week. If we suspend those rules, that means we're saying, no, we're not going to have that gap of time. We are going to vote on it immediately.
Great, thank you, Chair.
No problem. Okay, and I'm seeing no more questions. So we're going to vote on waiving the rules. Got the right report there. What, oh, is there more people? Okay. Yep. Trustee Harvey Hope.
I just wanted to mention that I'm in favor of waiving the rules, but only so I can split the motion, because I think some of these could wait and some of these can go forward. And so that gets very complicated, and I realize that, but I don't have any other option, because I think number 1 could go forward, but some of the other ones may need 2 weeks, because number 1 has nobody arguing that it shouldn't happen. Can I suggest my theory that I wanted to wait? If we pass waiving the rules, then I would suggest splitting them, and I would suggest I would recommend passing number 1 and deferring the other 4 for 2 weeks. Because there is, I think, consensus that number 1 is not contentious. We are building a school, we need a boundary review. And it's the first time that ward has itself as a ward. And we're following from another boundary review that I co-chaired that we were just waiting to start the next one.
We're in a process quandary. We have another speaker on the board, Trustee Chowdhury.
There's been a lot of discussion on this point. I just, for the sake of clarity, the reason why we're discussing this is because we're anticipating an election where trustees may change, and the role of the trustee as a co-chair may impact the boundary reviews that would be in place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a mix. I'm trying to understand the crux or the reason why we're having this discussion. So,
through you, Chair Drabence, normally our boundary reviews, we have a superintendent and a trustee not from that area be the co-chairs of the boundary review committee, and then they there's also a boundary review steering committee, which consists of the 2 co-chairs and the local trustees and the superintendent from the area. The boundary review committee is made up of parents, co-chaired by a trustee and a superintendent. And the parents, as Trustee L. Harrison said, usually, not always, but usually come through school councils. That's the challenge, because we might be in the midst of a process and the co-chair is not able to continue as the co-chair, as the trustee. As General Manager Ranzella said, the report on the boundary review actually comes from the director, but our admin procedure talks about co-chair. So I don't think we have the ability to just let it go and then me bring a report, because we have not then followed our own procedure at some point. So that's the challenge, and that's the challenge the chair is trying to work out right now. Does it make sense?
It does, through the chair. Thank you, Director. I guess the follow-on question would be is, with the election happening, we would still have, if we use the February 2019 deadline for 1, 2, 3, and 5, still have at least 3 months with the newly elected trustees to come in place and to enact what they need to.
Again, through the chair Gerbents, to the new trustees do not take the oath of office until December 1st. So therefore, and December is usually a month that little is done. And I shouldn't say little is done, but parent engagement's difficult in that month because parents are going to their kids' events and all those other things. And so that really leaves January, and it has to be done by the end of February. So you really have to get it all done in about a month. Our experience is that's pretty rushed for the community to come together, because we have a public meeting at the beginning to explain the process, and then we invite the public at the end of the process to comment. Right? We have a public meeting at the. No, we don't. No, I'm thinking of. Yeah. Right, but we have a public meeting as well. And so, that's for the trustees to determine. It's not for us whether they would like a process such as that, but either way, it would be truncated for sure.
So suspending the rules would be, we are dealing with this item tonight. And we would be able to defer some of it. So, I guess there's no more speakers on the list. We will vote on this. Waiving the rules, setting the topic. All those in favor of waiving the rules? And that is defeated. So we will be bringing this report back in 2 weeks. Of course, you can speak.
And through you, Chair Gerbents, to all trustees, I think we may need a little more, if this is ultimately passed, these recommendations, we would be looking for some direction, advice, or counsel, however you want to describe it. Direction, I guess, is the way, from trustees on how they want us to proceed with this, given the public nature of these boundary reviews. So I would ask trustees to think about that over the next couple of weeks before we get into the vote. Thank you.
Mr. Ranzella, go ahead.
Just as a follow-up, in order to kind of, from a timeline perspective, the item number 2 is a more of a tell process like we did for the triangle. And so there would be no involvement of the community per se. It would be more or less a redirection of an area where there's nobody living currently. And as such, we would need to go through the rigorous public consultation process, and more specifically a BRC and public meetings. So it would be more of a tell process. So, that could kind of be done beforehand, before the election, or before the new trustees are sworn in. And with respect to the high school, that can be initiated once the trustees in January, once we've got a new board in place and whatnot. So we're really speaking of the 3 items in play that we're referring to. So.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. Okay, next we are moving on to number 523, correspondence, Ministry of Education consultation. Oh, sorry. Okay, yes, you are right. So, speaker control. Okay, so Trustee Pappen, because you've already.
Thank you. My question has been answered.
Trustee Oliver.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Since we're looking at these upcoming boundary reviews, I'm just curious around what we can expect for timelines for a boundary review for the new Salwat Golf Course development area.
That's a good question. We don't envision that. I think it will be coming in about another year. I know they're starting to grade, but they haven't even gotten to the end of any form of approvals or anything like this at this point in time. So that's something that we can move forward, maybe as an item next year. Staff has not confirmed that or identified that as a need at this point in time. I think we can wait a year because my understanding they're still behind in terms of their development process. But I can get back to you on that.
Trustee Harvey Hope.
Thank you. Related to number 1 with the Northeast School number 2 in Oakville, just a reminder in advance of the process not to walk into the same issue we had with the Northeast number 1, which is to ensure that we have all of the required schools involved. In this particular case, I refer specifically to the Post Corners Triangle, which we had forgotten to invite for the first one, and it is part of the River Oaks. They got redirected to River Oaks years ago, and whether or not this would be the time to unredirect, those kinds of things. But because we didn't have representation from Post Corners at the time, we couldn't include them. And in this case, we've got Udinawi. They're having Udinawi and River Oaks are already mentioned, but and we also have the French immersion piece. So making sure we have all the players. So basically draw a line and make sure everybody in that whole corner, Ward 5, 6, and 7 are included. It doesn't hurt to have a couple more voices at the table. And we've got the institutional memory of what we did at that particular meeting. I'm sure the superintendent and I will recall, as well as Trustee Amos, what we would thought we might do in the second one.
Okay, thank you. Seeing, I'm sorry.
Trustee.
Mr. Renzel, go ahead.
Moving up the ladder. No, it's an excellent point, and I think that's that's one of the benefits of the steering committee with the trustees involved, identifying some of those issues up front so we can capture all of that at that time in order to say who are we including as part of this analysis. We'll keep that as part of that, but for other trustees as well, as a reminder to us if we don't capture that moving forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Oops, was there someone who went on the list before I cleared it? I guess not. I thought I saw something flash up. Okay, so now we're moving on to 523, correspondence, Ministry of Education consultations, report 18110 on page 41 of your board package. This is listed as all trustees, but I would ask that Vice Chair Al Harrison speak to it.
Sure. Thank you very much, through you, Madam Chair. This report and the associated motion stem from recent announcements by the Ministry of Education related to consultation around proposed changes to the curriculum. On August 22nd, there was an an announcement that beginning in September, there would be an online survey, telephone town halls in every region, and a submission platform that will allow interested individuals and groups to present detailed proposals to the ministry. On that same day, the platform for the parents.ca was launched. And if one visits that platform, you'll see that there are really two things that you can do there. One is to express concerns about the curriculum being taught in your child's classroom, and two, to address another issue. So I guess the point of this report and the motion is to correspond with the ministry to point out perhaps, or to request that at least two enhancements be made to the province-wide consultation that's being contemplated. One, that all stakeholders are invited to that consultation, not only parents who are vital stakeholders, but there are others, including student voice, other members of our community, teachers, those that represent teachers and other staff, and trustees, to mention a number of them. Point number two is that in order to have a full and meaningful consultation and to make a decision that's sustainable, I believe the group of trustees felt that it's important that people be invited to express a diversity of opinion, not just issues, because in fact, you know, there may be people who also support the current curriculum that is being taught, and all points in between. So I think with those two things, i.e., broader consideration of who stakeholders are and the comments that those stakeholders may hold, really form the bulk or the premise for this particular motion.
Trustee Harvey Hope.
Thank you to Vice Chair Al Harrison for putting into words what all of us, since all our names are on this, were experiencing. One of the things that I'm not particularly pleased about was the way the particular feedback line is being referred to in the media as a snitch line versus a feedback opportunity. So those are the kinds of things that we are trying to suggest in this letter that we will be asking that we have you, the chair, write. So thank you very much for encapsulating what we think.
Trustee Pappen.
Thank you. Through the chair to Vice Chair Al Harrison. Because this is the letter, I think it's really important that we get this out as soon as possible. So I'd like to put forward a motion to waive the rules to deal with this tonight.
Is there a seconder to waive the rules? Trustee Collard. Thank you. Is there any discussion on waiving the rules? Seeing none. All those in favor of waiving the rules? That passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, I will read the motion, put it on the floor. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees direct the chair to write a letter to the Ministry of Education copying the Ontario Public School Board Association and all Ontario Public School Board chairs to request that inclusion-related enhancements, such as inviting diverse comments from the full range of education stakeholders, be implemented for the online platform for the parents.ca and carried forward to all aspects of the province-wide public consultation taking place regarding the Ontario curriculum, and to offer support in this regard as appropriate and to request a response. Moved by Vice Chair Al Harrison, seconded by Trustee Collard. Okay, and Trustee Reynolds.
Thank you, through the chair. I just would like to make a comment, because I think the public should be aware that our perspective on this, in the sense that we're trying to engage, or we would like to see engaged all stakeholders, whether you have kids in the system or not. All constituents are taxpayers, and they all have a right to be engaged in this process. And I appreciate that our board is looking proactively to work with the ministry on this, and that's why I supported this. I know that some boards have are making quite a, I want to say, a reflection of how dissatisfied they are moving forward, and certainly I can agree with their perspective, but I'm glad that our board has taken this opportunity to be involved in this consultation and ensuring and our constituents, whether they have kids in the school or not, are involved in this.
Thank you. Seeing no more speakers. Oh, Vice Chair Harrison.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Before people vote, I just wanted to acknowledge and thank all of the trustees who pitched in on creating not only the report, but the recommendation as well. There was a lot of fine-tuning that went on to hopefully capture what Trustee Reynolds was saying and the spirit of trying to work collaboratively, perhaps in a space where there's been a lot of dissent for good reason, I might add, but and hopefully we'll have something will come to fruition.
Thank you, Vice Chair Al Harrison. I just wanted to say thank you for spearheading this particular report and motion. It's great work. Okay, so all those in favor? And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, we have no information items this evening. And next we're up to number 5.4, notices of motion. Are there any notices of motion? Seeing none. Next is the director's report.
Thank you, Chair Vance. I have nothing to report this evening, other than it's the second day of school, and our schools are full, and the kids look happy when I visited them. So hopefully day 3, they're even happier.
Are there any questions for the director on his report? Okay, next is communications from the chair. I received some communications from various boards and stuff across the province. I've circulated them already, but I'm going to send them to Manager Gortmaker to include them in the next package. And also the director and I, as well as Superintendent Reddick, thank you, attended a cannabis consultation at MPP Jane McKenna's office a week or so ago. It included community members as well as the mayor and city staff to discuss issues surrounding the upcoming legalization and retail operations that could happen across the province and within our city, within our cities. But this was specifically about Burlington. We have contacted the other MPPs, or Superintendent Reddick contacted the other MPPs to see if they had a similar consultation, but they don't have that. We are welcome to send in comments to them. So if you do have any comments about that you feel would be pertinent, please feel free to send them to your MPPs. I'm sure that they would take that information, and I would suggest doing it sooner rather than later, because they tend to move pretty quickly on these consultations. The other thing I wanted to mention, it's actually a request, is that we put out our communication tree for concerns from parents. You know, if you have a concern about the teacher, contact the teacher. If not happy, go to the principal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because I've had some very odd requests lately.
Through your Chair of events to all trustees, Associate Director Bogue will arrange that so that parents can know. I think it might be on the website, but we'll figure something out so that it's people are more aware. So you're not being asked questions about what classes their child has.
And I got an attendance notice today from another parent. So yeah, things need to be out there a little clearer. Okay, and are there any committee reports at all? Trustee Collard?
Yeah, just wanted to mention that during the summer months, the Equity Symposium Committee has been meeting, and we've put together a very robust day for the Equity Conference, and I would like to invite Superintendent Etoff to perhaps speak to that.
Thank you, absolutely. We're extremely excited about our upcoming very first Halton District School Board Human Rights Symposium with a focus on Indigenous rights and realities. It's taking place December the 11th, and sorry. Thank you. I'm mixing that up. It's taking place December 4th. Thank you very much. And we have a pretty star-studded lineup. We're feeling very privileged. We have Jesse Wente as one of our keynotes, a CBC broadcaster, and just as of yesterday, we were able to secure Susan Aglukark, who's an Inuit singer-songwriter, and she's going to do our morning keynote. So, and that's not to even mention the wonderful breakouts that we have planned. So lots of information is coming. We're looking forward to offering this opportunity to our staff, but very importantly, this is an opportunity to bring in members of our community in lots of different facets, whether that be members of other school boards or community organizations. So certainly we would like to use everyone's assistance in getting this messaging out there, as this is not meant to be a conference just for HDSB staff, that this is to be a conference for all, because this is an important topic for us all.
Thank you, Superintendent Etoff. Vice Chair Al Harrison.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, Committee of the Whole will be meeting for our inaugural meeting of the school year next week. And on our agenda, which looks pretty packed actually, there are bylaws. So all of the bylaws that have been worked on over the last number of years, and the parliamentarian has now reported back. And so those will be a great topic of discussion. We may be also discussing the policies related to executive limitation and the director's job description. And for others, I would just ask that you go into the spreadsheet and confirm whether your items in fact need to be next week or whether they can be at the meeting following, such as the transportation item that's there, the trustee succession planning agenda template piece that's there, and so on. And if you don't remember what those may be, then hopefully they can bump on to the next agenda. Thanks.
Trustee Gray.
Thank you very much. With the permission of the Inspire Committee, today I had a short meeting with Susan Thrasher, Heather Francie, Manager Gail Gortmaker, and our focus today on the Inspire Awards was on efficiencies in communication, and we felt very pleased at some of the small tweaks that we did to our current process and procedures with regards to the Inspire Awards. I want to invite all trustees to be a part of the evaluation of those 6 nominations that were received in the month of June, July, and August. That information will be coming out to you hopefully by, if not the end of this week, the beginning of next week. So watch for an email on that. Thank you.
Trustee Harvey Hope.
Just to report that the Accessibility Coordinating Committee did have a meeting, and everything is going very smoothly and things are on track. And if anybody wants to know specifics, you can contact me.
Trustee Reynolds.
Thank you. I'm a member of Partnering Eldershot outside of this board. I sit on this committee, and we met today, and I thought it would be important to share that they produce a newsletter that's distributed to Aldershot homes, and I was pleased to see that our fair funding infographic was put in there in full color, and so certainly we're getting more support for awareness, for helping us advocate for our board to not be the lowest funded in the province.
Okay, thank you. I've actually handed out to all of you the committee list for 2017-2018. And the director also has a listing. And this is just to draw attention to the fact that former trustee Kim Graves is listed in several of these committees. And I was wondering if there was any objection to Trustee Chowdhury taking the positions that Trustee Graves currently has listed. And if I'm just going to reset the list. I understand that the Joint Health and Safety Committee is not meeting.
It was me anyway. So we never, that one doesn't have it will actually be meeting, but so it won't matter. I'll be there. So the alternate is not a problem. I was going to suggest that finance and accountability, vice chair, sure. But for the audit, I would like to make a motion that we suggest we appoint Trustee Collard, because I would like to ensure continuity in the 2-month period between December 1st and when the next audit committee meeting might be called. That way we would have 3 for sure, possibly 4, but we will not have me. So Trustee Collard has a habit of attending meetings. She has been on the audit committee before. She can get up to speed quite quickly. And I'm going to take pity on Trustee Chowdhury to absorb the 200-page document that comes for the November one 3 weeks sooner than you need to. So I think all in all, that might be a good one. That trustees are always welcome to attend the audit committee, but as far as an official member, it would be useful to have continuity for the September and November meetings. And then the standing committee can choose what it does in January, but that way we would have a functioning audit committee over the change of term.
I'm going to ask Trustee Chowdhury, how do you feel about, I mean, we would be throwing you into a number of committees otherwise, so would you be amenable to attending the audit committee, but not necessarily being a member so that we have that continuity?
Madam Chair, I don't have an issue with attending the audit committee as a member, so I'm fine with that.
And Trustee Collard, are you amenable to Trustee Harvey Hope's suggestion that since you are an acclaimed trustee, that that provides continuity?
I think that makes a lot of sense, actually, considering the work of the audit committee. And one way or the other, I'm going to attend the meetings anyway. So if I'm going to be there, I might as well be there.
Follow-up, Trustee Harvey.
The other reason why I would like this to ensure that we have 3 standing members of the audit committee, I realize the audit committee doesn't technically go forward until it gets reconstituted. But we also don't have an internal auditor system at the moment, and we don't have an official whistleblower policy. So all of those combined means that the audit committee is it. So if people know that it's still functioning and that there are 3 people and there's a trustee conduit to it, that is my other concern. So.
Okay, so we're happy going forward, looking for sort of a general consensus with Trustee Chowdhury taking the vice chair position on finance and accountability, the Special Education Advisory Committee, and the Staff Wellness Advisory position. Everybody's okay with that? Trustee Chowdhury, if you have any issues attending or dealing with these committees that you've just learned about now, just speak to myself, and we'll work out any issues. Okay?
Sure, Madam Chair. If we can just clarify which committees I'm on again. So finance and accountability.
Yes.
Or is it easier just to go through the ones I'm not on?
So the ones that are the standing committees, you're actually a member of all those committees, but we meet as part of committee of the whole. So you would be vice chair on finance and accountability. So the chair is Trustee Harvey Hope. So she'll inform you of that. And then Special Education Advisory Committee, you would be a voting member on that particular committee. And then at the Staff Wellness Advisory, how often does that meet? Trustee Harvey Hope, do you know? We'll have to look into that.
It's not 3 times a year, so it may have one meeting between now and November 30th. So.
Yeah. So if there's any issues, just let me know. Okay.
Great. I feel like I'm going to be buying Trustee Harvey Hope lots of coffee in the next little while. So thank you.
Excellent. Tea. She's a tea drinker. Okay. Great. Trustee, hold on a second. Resetting the list. Trustee questions. Oh, actually, the director had something to add to his director's report.
Thank you, Chair Devens. I just wanted to mention, as this board is acutely aware, we went through a very difficult PAR process in 2016 and 2017. As a result of that, Lester B. Pearson was closed, and those students were moved to M.M. Robinson. There are some in the community who are still not particularly pleased about that. However, had they been at M.M. Robinson yesterday, I think that would have been dissipated to a great extent. I was at the school yesterday, and it was well set up. It was well organized. The students seemed to embrace it. They were welcomed by a link crew, and for those of you that don't know what a link crew is, that's a group of usually senior students, but they can be grade 10s, but they're usually a group of students that help new students coming in, the grade 9s coming in, and guide them through the processes and everything else. And the link crew was a combination of Lester B. Pearson students, former Lester B. Pearson students, and M.M. Robinson students, and they led all the new students going through various exercises and so on. I actually stepped into a link crew training process and went round, and it was about it was a good mix of students from the Lester B. Pearson, former Lester B. Pearson catchment area and the M.M. Robinson catchment area. I want to very much thank the leadership of Superintendent Blackwell, and also, though, the staffs of both Lester B. Pearson and M.M. Robinson, and the communities, their parents and the students, for making yesterday a pretty historic day. And I think They're going to move forward. There's many opportunities for these students now in terms of program opportunities, extracurriculars and co-curriculars that they were unable to take part in at Lester B. Pearson. And it's also enhanced the M.M. Robinson situation. So I know there'll still be some growing pains, and there may still be issues here and there, but we'll work through those. But if yesterday is any indication of the success of this, then it's a strong indicator. So I just want to say that. Thanks.
Trustee Collard?
Thank you. In discussion of the changes that have been made to M.M. Robinson, one of those changes was moving French immersion. The students that were going to be entering grade 9 at Hayden have been redirected to M.M. Robinson for grade 9 French immersion, and I'm wondering if we have any data on the number of students that chose to demit from grade 9 French immersion in order to continue at Hayden, which would have been the school they were expecting to attend. This was a concern in my community, and I don't expect you to have the answer this evening, but I would appreciate having some data around those numbers so that when I'm asked, I'm able to give a response. Thank you.
Sure. Through you, Chair Grabence, to Trustee Collard, we can give you the exact data, but we can give you a rough idea on the data tonight, can we not? Do you have it there?
Through the chair to Trustee Collard, I have more data in terms of the kids going from Pearson to MM tonight this evening. What I was planning on doing is once we check the kids that actually show up at the door, because it can vary over the next week or two, is bringing it back to the first PAR report, PAR update.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Trustee Reynolds.
Thank you, through the chair. I too was looking to the director to hopefully get a little bit of intel on whether there's any preliminary numbers of how many students have successfully moved from Pearson to MM. I've heard some comments in the community that some community members weren't going to move over. They were going to look at either changing boards or looking at different opportunities. And I'm just wondering, I would love to know, and I'm sure the public would love to know, are our numbers in line with what we thought? Did we receive what numbers we expected from the grade 8s coming into grade 9? Are there any blips that we needed to be aware of?
Through Chair Grabence to Trustee Reynolds, Superintendent Blackwell has that information. I would like to supersede her on one of them, though, because I know this one, that's why. We had 64 students in grade 8 that would have been going to Pearson in grade 9 from the catchment area. 63 of those students have gone to M.M. Robinson, and we don't know where the other student has gone, moved, or whatever. Superintendent Blackwell, you have some more numbers there if you want to share those.
Sure, through the chair to Trustee Reynolds. Specifically, and grade 12, students that were in grade 12 at Lester B. Pearson last year, we know that some of them may have gone on to post-secondary pathways, they may have gone on to work, some of them are returning. So I'm going to talk about the kids from 9 to 10 and from 10 to 11 and 11 to 12, and then we do have the other data that I can share. So last year in grade 9 at Lester B. Pearson, there were 31 students. Of those students, 26 of them have gone to M.M. Robinson. 3 of them have gone to other high school programs within our board. Yep. And 2 are unknown. Of the 198 students, that was extended French. That was all of extended French. Of the 198 students in the English track, 184 of them remained at MM. 7 of them have gone to other Halton District School Board schools, and those are all grade 11 and 12 students that would have moved for program reasons. They might have signed up for a SHISM or an OEAP. And then 7 are unknown. So again, just to go back to the first piece, there were 31 in extended French, and 26 of those 31 students are at MM this year, with 3 choosing a different pathway in grade 11 in one of our schools and 2 unknown.
May I follow up, please? Further to that, I meant to ask also at some point, could we understand, so we heard that students actually are following the path, they've amalgamated, which is awesome. If we could have some update on perhaps some characterization of the options, the classes. We've heard that, we're offering a more breadth of opportunity. If we had some sort of concrete examples of, are we offering more trades? Are we offering different programs they haven't been able to offer at each school? Just to give people a synopsis of, are we delivering what we told them that we would deliver on?
Through you, Chair Drabens, to Trustee Reynolds, yes, we don't have that information obviously tonight, but we can bring that at a later date. Oh, you have it already? See. Do you want to sit here?
So through the chair to Trustee Reynolds, and I'll be able to present this on a slide. It's probably easier, all the different course codes. But one of the questions that you asked was around what are the regional program offerings. So new for Pearson, new for MMR, and I think it's really important to point out that students that are at MMR and that were there last year are benefiting from the amalgamation as well. So, and also arts and culture, SHISM is new to the school. There's some dual credit programs from health and wellness. There are probably about 11 courses that are new to MMR students, that were MMR students last year. And I'm just looking, if that was 11 on my table, we've probably got about 16 courses that are new for Lester B. Pearson students, as well as regional programs in terms of business, cosmetology, electrical, health and wellness, home building, manufacturing, and transportation. And then new for both groups of students, you've probably got another 11 or 12 courses. And I look at some of the drama courses. There's some in the social sciences area, some science courses. So it's a wealth of courses at all different levels, university open and applied bound program as well.
Thank you. The people of Burlington, I think, will be happy to know that. That's a really important piece, and I'm really glad to know that, because that's certainly what we are hearing, is that people want to know the results of our PAR and that we are delivering what we said we would do.
And through your Chair Drabens to Trustee Reynolds, this will take a wee bit to get this information, but the students at Lester B. Pearson were every grade 12 student prior to this year was taking online courses as well. So we can provide that information about how many students at MMR will be taking online courses that are taking them because they had to take them because they weren't offered anywhere else. That will not be the same number as what was in Pearson, but it'll take us a little bit to get that information for you. So, but we can give that to the trustees as well, because I think the point you've made, we wrote a report. We made many, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it, many arguments for this process that the trustees supported. And it's important that it is evaluated and assessed, and the community is aware of that. So,
thank you. Trustee Pappen.
Thank you through the chair to Superintendent Blackwell. I just wanted to thank you for all those stats that you gave us on the move from Pearson to MM Robinson. I think the community will be very happy to know that, and I hope it continues to go well. I do have a question about the extended French that was at Pearson and moved to MM Robinson. Could you give the numbers for the kids that were in grade 11 extended French and how many continued on to MM Robinson for extended French?
Through the chair to Trustee Pappen. So the data that I have in front of me, again, is just, it needs to be verified, but right now we're looking at students that were in grade 11 extended French last year at Lester B. Pearson. 11 of the 12 students are in grade 12 extended French at Pearson, at MM Robinson.
Okay,
just a follow-up to that.
Absolutely.
Which has to do more with the French immersion kids coming from Halton to MM Robinson. If I could get the numbers for those ones as well, because there's some hearsay about whether, they've been demitting from the program.
I just wanted to say that I've been hearing very positive things as the trustee of Robinson. And I spoke with the principal last night to get sort of a bird's eye view, and she was very happy with how the day went. It's first day of school is always kind of crazy anyways, but it went extremely well. She spoke very highly of how the kids were coming together. She spoke about the link crew being 50-50, former Pearson students and current students. And I've heard from students themselves that the day went very well. There was nothing that they observed that was odd or out of the ordinary. Just was more kids in the school. So I want to commend the superintendent at Blackwell, as well as the principal and the staff of the school. I know it was a lot of work to get to this point. I know every student from Lester Pearson was individually, they had basically a profile for every single one, and those discussions, so integration and the transition was as seamless as possible, make those things happen. And I look forward to taking those processes as we move to the next amalgamation of schools within the city. I think we've done a great job. I've been invited to lunch over at the school in a couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to touring around and hearing from more students and staff. Thank you. Oh, Superintendent Blackwell.
Thank you. And through the chair, just to follow up with that, we're having this conversation today talking about great, it's day one and everything's good. We have made a commitment, and one of the things that came out of our committee, and Superintendent Pennyfather chairs that committee, is that we are going to continue to monitor as we go through this year. The work is not done, and we know that we still have some learning to do, and we will be setting up another meeting in October with that committee to check in specifically with our students and our staff and learn from what we've done beyond day one.
Looking forward to that. So, are there any trustee questions? And, okay, I cleared the list. If you could put your name back on, that would be wonderful. Any questions and comments? Trustee Chowdhury.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a comment through the chair to the staff. I want to acknowledge the unfortunate situation we had today in Milton, but I also want to acknowledge as a new trustee, the impressive level of professionalism from the director, superintendents Etoff and Newton, all the way down to the school, and how you cared and how you ensured that the student safety was the prominent piece of your action. So I just want to acknowledge that and thank you for that.
Trustee Collard.
Thank you. It's the second day of school, and parents are suffering from paperwork. And every year I bring forward the concern that we are creating an awful lot of paper for parents to fill out, sometimes the same information on multiple forms. And when you have 3 or 4 children, that's an awful lot. And once again, I'm going to ask if we are moving towards a more paperless solution now that we have School Messenger, and whether or not that's going to help us and assist us in filling out paperless forms so that parents are not getting writer's cramp on the first and second day of school.
Thank you. Through the chair to Trustee Collard and all of the trustees, because I remember this question last year. And unfortunately, I don't have great news to share. I did have a team investigate going paperless. We looked at all of our current applications, Cash Online, Trillium, at the time, Center Voice, which is now School Messenger. We are hopeful that School Messenger will have a few options for us to go a little more paperless, but we did investigate, and unfortunately, we don't have a viable option for online submission, electronic signatures, and registration forms. There is a provincial team looking at student information systems right now, and the results from the ministry will be coming out late fall, early winter. We're hopeful for that. We know that we need to move from our current student information system, but we're not doing that until the ministry indicates the results of their proposal process. So we do understand the frustration, but we still do, and there are a lot of different people around the table who would contribute that electronic signatures does not cover us from a liable perspective right now. And we did investigate going paperless, but we just don't have a good viable option right now. Thank you.
I'll keep bringing it up.
Superintendent Gibbons.
Thank you, through the chair, to Trustee Collard. I would like to add as well that in hearing the concern, there was committees in various areas that got together last year to condense those forms into review. So the forms that are out this year are new. The packages are much shorter. Unfortunately, they still are paper, as Superintendent Truffin has explained, but those committees, the forms, the athletics, excursions, etc., were all reviewed with a committee last year, and they are tighter packages overall. So I'm sorry, it's still paper, but we have reviewed them as well.
Thank you for your effort.
Trustee Reynolds.
Thank you. I have a question for the director, through the chair. I'm wondering if there's any preliminary intel on whether we might be experiencing a bus driver shortage this season. I haven't heard any concerns from constituents, and usually that happens the first week, but I just thought, do we know whether we need to gear up for any concerns this year?
Associate Director Bogue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Trustee Reynolds and all trustees. Things are looking much, much better this year. If trustees recall, last year we had somewhere in the order of 40 routes that were uncovered, and they were juggling routes and using occasional drivers and that sort of thing. The day before school started this year, we had only 2 routes uncovered, and I believe that got resolved for the very first day, and so we are in very good shape. Having said that, there have been some blips, as there always is at school startup, with new routes and new drivers. And it is the time of year when there's still some flux with drivers as well. After they've been off for away from the job for a while, they come back and then decide it's not for them. And so I know there are drivers in the queue, and certainly we haven't, HSTS hasn't stopped with driver training and that sort of thing. But as of the first couple of days, there are drivers in pretty well every route. So we're looking in good shape.
Superintendent Etoff.
Sorry, just one additional piece. I'm not sure whether you're aware, but we did, in working with HSTS, put out a communication, I think it was on August 31st, to our families, providing a broader update than the one Associate Director Bogue provided, to while trying to instill some confidence in our communities about the current state of the busing situation, to also provide some reminders about realities of first day, first week, first couple of weeks, and some of the challenges that we normally experience.
Trustee Gray.
Thank you very much. Through the chair, I just wanted to make a comment that last week I had the pleasure of dropping into 6 schools, and in each of those schools I found the school's filled with teachers, very excited and huge amount of synergy going on. In fact, one teacher stopped me and said, let me give you a lesson on coding. And I got a quick tutorial on coding from this teacher. But what I want to say is that it was clearly evident to me in the 6 schools that I had the pleasure of dropping into last week that the work of our custodial staff over the summer and the fine work of all of the folks that have been doing repairs and improvements to our buildings was clearly evident. And though, whereas in some cases in Halton Hills, I know that the construction has not been completed yet, a great deal of effort has gone into it, and great things have happened for our students. And so I'm very, very pleased. I also want to put a shout out and a thank you to the committee for that conference that was held for the school administrators a couple weeks ago. It was a fine day for everyone involved, and I particularly enjoyed listening to the keynote speaker in the morning. So thank you very much. I think it just bodes well that we're off to a fine start this year, and again, thanks to all the teachers, the admin teams, the senior admin team, and the custodial staffs, and all those other people who have been working in our buildings during those very, very hot days of the summer. Thank you.
Through Chair Gervais to Trustee Gray, thank you for those kind words, and I'm sure Superintendent Puccetti will pass those on to our caretaking staff. They often don't get compliments, so it's good to hear that. Thank you.
Trustee Harvey Hope.
I have a couple, so I'll do a few and then let Trustee Daniela go, and then I'll go back on the list. I have had a flurry of phone calls in the last a few weeks. One of them was related to an inability to take French as a day student at Gary Allen. And I was kind of surprised at that. An adult student deciding to go back to school, and French was not available. So that's one thing that I'd like to follow up on. Don't need an answer tonight. But I thought it was a little strange, especially since we have some schools where you can't get the credit you need when you need it. So.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Trustee Harvey Hope, I'd have to double check because course offerings do change from year to year, but we've not traditionally offered French through Gary Allen High School. Typically, the young people that are at Gary Allen are working on core area courses and not in the languages. In terms of online, we do offer a number of courses online as well, and French is also not one of those courses that we've had significant request for online. So what we offer is based on the numbers of requests. So it's kind of a supply and demand thing.
So I guess I understand the logistics of, don't have enough people doing it. Same thing as what we don't offer at summer school. The point was there was no option to, like, all of Ontario for, gee, where can you get this if you need it? If you happen to have left high school and didn't get your grade 9 French credit, how do you actually get it in order to finish it? So it's not that I don't think we should, jump to and offer it right away. What I'm suggesting is that there should be an answer to a student that says, how do I get this gap filled? And so that's my takeaway from that is that it's sort of like we offer language classes on Saturday mornings for almost every language except French, and they're assuming that you get your French in school. And that is the case, except for, if you're coming in grade 7 and you're trying to catch up, or all the different reasons why you might need some more support on that language. You can take Russian on Saturday mornings, but you can't take French, even if it's your heritage language. So that's the other kind of thing. Sometimes French just kind of ends up in a different boat than the rest of the languages.
Director Miller.
Through you, Chair Gervais, I'll start, and Associate Director Bogue can jump in. As Associate Director Bogue explained, French is difficult to offer at Gary Allen. The principal of Gary Allen has the ability to offer a substitute credit. If it is someone you need one credit in French to get your diploma, we have an ability to provide a substitute credit if they can't get French, and that's a legitimate reason to provide a substitute credit. So if it's holding up someone's graduation, we can address that, no problem at all.
I just wanted to respond to the international languages. French is not considered one of those languages to offer because it's one of our country's official languages, so we can't offer it through the International Languages Program. And just with respect to, there are some options where kids can get French, not within the alternative ed per se, but there are some other options that our staff at Gary Allen should be able to point them to. So that may be something I can follow up with folks there around.
Okay, Trustee Daniele.
Thank you. I'd like to express my appreciation and thanks to the principal and staff administration at Martin Street School. You may not be aware, but after a very uneventful summer, last week the town of Milton chose to dig up all of Martin Street. And the construction is slated to go on for months. And with the number of buses we have coming in there now from the triangle piece after the last boundary review. Pardon? All I know is when I tried to get to the school for a meeting, I had to go back through behind the Catholic, because there's a Catholic school right across the street that's caused for it. So Tuesday could have been absolute mayhem, and it wasn't. Largely due to Principal Dan Albrecht and his staff, the amount of time and care he's often out there at that intersection, making sure that his students get in safely. He does that all the time, but this year it's even more difficult for him. So I just wanted to acknowledge that they're going above and beyond, and they will continue to do so for months. Thank you.
Trustee Gray.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to share with the trustees, and I have briefly already, but I think it was such a significant event that it bears to be brought up here at the board table, and that was that last week Superintendent Scott Padre-Barrett traveled north with me out of the Halton Hills to lovely Fergus, Ontario, to attend a meeting with Wellington and Halton Hills MPP and Speaker of the House Ted Arnott. We spoke about many things. It was a great meeting. It was short but very productive. Through it, we spoke about the great things happening in Halton Hills and how proud we were of the new developments. We spoke about the need to maintain and strengthen the bridges to our current government so that we can all work together to make great things happen for students. We also then spoke about the concerns that we've heard from our community regarding the distance to travel for parents and students to access the activities or specialized services where they have to travel outside of the region, not only just outside of Halton Hills, but in fact outside of Halton, period, to get the needs of their students addressed. And then finally, we talked about the fair funding infographic, and he had already been apprised of that through the conversation he had had with Chair Grabantz, but also through the conversations that he had had with several constituents from Halton Hills who called him up and expressed their concerns. As a follow-up to our meeting, I would like to report that MPP Ted Arnott forwarded a letter to the Honourable Lisa Thompson, Minister of Education, requesting a review of the fair funding infographic and an explanation as to why the per-pupil funding is lower in Halton than the provincial per-pupil funding. So I think we've made an inroad here, and I'm very pleased to hear from several of the trustees that I shared this with that they too have meetings planned with their MPPs, and I know Chair Grabantz is hoping to host a summit, if you would, coming up shortly.
Yes, I met with MPP Jane McKenna, and actually when I spoke with Speaker Arnott, they were both very interested in getting together with the Halton District School Board trustees so that we can move forward on some issues. So that was great. Okay, Trustee Harvey Hope.
Final two. I have been noticing in my particular neighborhood that we have a lot of new parents of JK students, and they have a lot of queries. And so I've been really active in answering, what you should pack in a JK lunch and what kind of things they should expect and all this kind of stuff. And I know we have a wonderful welcome center. Some of these parents, though, I think are not probably eligible to have ended up at the welcome center necessarily. If their kids are just starting school and they've been in the neighborhood, it's not like they've moved from someplace. And I'm wondering whether or not we reach out to real estate agents to make sure that they understand that there is the welcome center and that people could answer. The welcome center could be a resource to parents who have general questions of what's it like to send my kid to a school in Ontario, Halton, those kinds of things. Because we seem to have parents that are asking questions, and they are asking their neighbors, and that's fine, but it would be nice if there was a way when they move into the neighborhood that their real estate agent can say, oh, by the way, not just here's where you go to school, but here's where to go if you have questions.
Through Chair of Events to Trustee Harvey Hope. No, we don't reach out to real estate agents, and I can't say that we've even thought of it, but it's Superintendent Truffin sitting there, and he's in charge, responsible for the Welcome Center, so it's a consideration.
My other comment is I just wanted to say thank you very much to both the payroll department for all the changes that they're processing this time of year, a few unexpected ones to be processed for September 1st. And also to the accounting department for their wonderful dealing with all of our errant trustees who constantly berate them with stuff over the summer when they're trying to also do year end. So I'm appreciative of everybody's work on getting everything done and paid and processed for our year end on August 31st and the new startup of school and all the new staff. So just wanted to spread some cheer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That clears the speakers list. I guess the next thing to have is a motion to adjourn. Oh, sorry. Rise and reconvene. I'm staring at it right here. Reconvene into private session. Motion to reconvene into private session. Trustee Chowdhury, actually, at first, seconded by Trustee Gray. Are there any questions, debate? Okay. We're just going to vote on this.
Jackie's doing the report. Support your comments.
All those in favor? Just waiting for Trustee Chowdhury to confirm.
We start with Jackie's report, right? That's where we
Yeah. Okay, that passes unanimously. That ends public session. Thank you so much. Private session will reconvene in 5 minutes, and hopefully we can